We continue to make our way through the NFL teams in their respective 2021 draft classes and their draft picks. And now we make our way all the way down to the Philadelphia Eagles, who, in my mind, had a very respectable draft, especially in the early rounds, got a couple of starters right away, and were able to do a lot of good things with it. Obviously the last pick had the last pick in the top 10 of the first round of the NFL draft, and then moved on down the line and did some good things as well. So, a couple different things to take away. I thought they, like I said, came away with a couple of good starters, but also they really retooled a lot of what they were going to do offensively, and they brought in some guys defensively to at least try some stuff. And so without further ado, let's jump right into it. Oh yeah, and they brought brought Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts back together, which is also always a win. So if you take a look at their draft class, in the first round, obviously they selected number 10th overall. They selected Devonta Smith, wide receiver out of Alabama. 17 games played and 16 started, 64 catches, 916 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Guy was a dude. Obviously, there was a lot of times where I was kind of wondering if he was going to blow up. Jalen Waddle seemed to blow up. I mean, obviously, Jamar Chase blew up as well. But this entire year really was just a really good year for draft classes, for specifically the wide receiving class. So, I was really happy with how I saw most of these wide receivers, especially these early wide receivers, play out. They really showed that they all belong, not just one, but all of them belong, because, I think you started to see, as the year wore on, that this league is meant for these young wide receivers, and I think they're all going to be very, very good. Obviously, I gave this grade an A, and I'm really excited to see what him and Jalen Hurts continue to do moving forward. I think they're going to be a really good duo. In the second round, the Philadelphia Eagles, with the 37th overall selection, selected Landon Dickerson, guard out of Alabama. Man, he was a man. I know he had some knee injuries, but man, can he just flat out play. 14 games, 13 starts, had a 67.3 PFF grade, was kind of thrust into the starting role after a couple of injuries, but man, a total of 5 penalties, 2 sacks, I gave this one an A. Obviously, in the second round, you expect guys to start. You don't know how right away. And you don't know, especially, the Vikings selected a guard, Wyatt Davis, in the 60s, I believe, in the 60th overall, 62, 63, wherever. Anyway, that I was like, okay. No, actually, third round guard. My bad. He was in the 90s. I apologize. I think it was 98. Anyway, so Landon Dickerson was a very good land here. You kind of just wonder how quickly they're going to be able to come to the field and just leave a mark. And Landon Dickerson, as soon as he hit the field, he left a mark. And I think that it's tough to draft offensive linemen and hope that you get some value. But you found a guy, I think, in Dickerson, that if he can stay healthy. I think it was like 3 or 4 ACL injuries he had at Alabama, but if he can stay healthy, he's going to be a hand. He's going to be a tough guy to contend with. He's going to be a really good offensive lineman for the Eagles for a very, very long time. Again, if he can stay healthy. In the third round, 73rd overall, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Milton Williams, defensive tackle, Louisiana Tech. Played in 17 games, started 2, had a 49.0 PFF grade, 30 tackles, and a couple of sacks. Obviously, the Eagles, a couple years removed from their Super Bowl win, they're still trying to figure things out. Obviously, they've done some good things to kind of get them back into the mold, but I think overall the Eagles are sitting in a good spot for a lot of how they're looking. So, and I felt like Williams was a player that, especially if you take a look at how he played down the stretch, I'm very encouraged. I think he could be something very big moving forward. Now, again, I do think, being behind Fletcher Cox is just, that's how it goes. But overall, I think Milton Williams is a guy at the very least that's going to come in and continue to provide a lot of depth and a lot of quality, play behind Fletcher when he's out. But overall, I really like the pick here. I thought he was a really good pick. Overall, gave it a B. Because, once you get out of the third and fourth, fifth, once you get into the fourth, fifth, sixth rounds, it's more development guys that you want to see what you can do with. But really liked what I saw from a guy like from Williams. So, and then in the fourth round, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Zech McPherson with the 124th overall selection, a corner out of Texas Tech. Played in 16 games, started 1, had a total of 16 tackles, a 64.2 PFF grade. Give this one a C+. Like I said, I was really impressed with this draft class, and in the fourth to seventh rounds, you just find corners. You think for the most part, you think they're either going to be special team guys or they're going to be guys that are in the mix. But I think a guy like McPherson could definitely find his way on into the field. A guy behind it, he's a guy that's behind Darius Slay, Avonte Maddox as well. So it's tough. again, when you get, it's usually just tough for any player to get on the field, but I think McPherson will find his way on sooner rather than later. He's a good player, and I'm really excited to see what he does with the Eagles. In the 5th round, number 151st overall, the 151 over whatever, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Kenneth Gainwell, running back out of Memphis. This was a big pick for me because I just don't know what to like expect out of the Eagles running backs, because who was it? Boston Scott, one game had like 2 touchdowns in my fantasy league, and then I went to go draft him, and he did nothing for me the following week. So it's just like, I don't know. You also got Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders as well, but Kenneth Gainwell, kind of that 4th running back that you got, but played in 16 games, had 1 start, over 550 scrimmage yards and 6 touchdowns. You know, you really like what you see from a guy that can do it all, and especially getting this kind of a value is a big thing as well. Getting a running back that, to be honest with you, I think, you know, if you can get running backs in the 4th, 5th, 6th rounds, I mean, the running back position is just changing so much, man. It's just so weird. I came in when I first started following the NFL. You had, you know, running backs like Adrian Peterson, and now the NFL, it's just changing. You're finding these guys, you know, later in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th rounds, and it's cool. I'm literally glad to see it though, because it does make for, I feel like it makes for a little bit more fun, a little bit more of an emphasis on other positions around the NFL. But I still really like it. In the 6th round, number 190 overall, the Philadelphia Eagles selected, I never get his name right, Marlon Tuipulotu. I'm sorry. Check out my mock draft videos. I even got it wrong all of last year. Okay, so this shouldn't be really a shock to you guys. Defensive tackle out of USC, played in 5 games, had a total of 9 tackles and a 29.2 PFF grade. Not great, but when you watched Marlon on tape, I'm not going to try to say his last name again, but if you watched him on tape, he was a guy that could get some pressure up the middle, could hold double teams if he had to, and he's a big boy too. So I think in the long run, this is going to be a really good pick for the Eagles. I think that you're really, again, you're banking on potential here, especially in the later rounds. Now, the tough part is, again, you're behind guys, you know, like Hassan Ridgeway, like Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox. So, yes, it's going to be tough to get on the field, but that's just how it goes. I think, you know, sometimes it's just time to nut up or shut up, and I think Marlon's going to do just that. I think he's going to be a really good player. And, you know, it's tough for guys that have to come in right away and try to play that, you know, that do need a little bit of development because, you know, they're thrust in, you know, sometimes, like, for instance, the Vikings got KJ Osborne, wide receiver out of Buffalo. I think it was last year's draft, like, didn't play an offensive snap, and I think he got benched 3 times on special teams as a punt returner. So it was just tough to watch. And then this year he emerged as a top wide receiver for the Vikings. So it was tough. And I think you're kind of seeing a similar thing here with Marlon. I think you're going to find him being a guy that, you know, moving forward, I feel at least expect him to be in the rotation, if not be a really good player for the Eagles down the road. In the 6th round, still 1 pick later, 191 overall, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Tehran Jackson, defensive end or tackle out of Coastal Carolina. Played in 17 games, had a total of 18 tackles and a sack and a 66.3 PFF grade. When you get into this, like the 6th and 7th, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th rounds, like I've said from the very beginning, it is mainly about developing these guys, and that's what it comes down to. But a guy like Tehran Jackson, I mean, he's got the height you like, you know, you like that 6'2", 260 range. You know, that's, you know, height, that's about right, but that 260, so he can hold an edge, and you're probably going to be more of an edge defender. But overall, you like, you know, you draft these guys and try to bring them along and hope that they'll be a big part of a pass rusher or some semblance of in the rotation. And, you know, obviously Jackson was, and I think you're going to really like to see what you get out of him moving forward. Give it a C+, because you got a lot of value here, and I thought this was a really good pick. Still in the 6th round, not even I think 13 picks later or whatever, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Jacoby Stevens, a linebacker out of LSU, number 224 overall. Played in a couple games, started 1 and had a couple of tackles. You know, these guys, 6th round linebackers, usually that's like the baseline special teams player. So I think it comes down to having to find a way to incorporate some of these guys, you know, and that's the thing is the coaching staff. That's the job of the coaching staff. If they're really good in pass coverage, you got to get them on the field. If they are a player that still needs development, you got to grow them and you got to develop them. And I think that's what you're going to see with a guy like Jacoby Stevens. I loved him at LSU though, I really did. And I think he could be at the very least a really good player in terms of being on that special teams. And who knows, maybe he can develop into a starter. We've seen stranger things happen. In the 7th round, number 234 overall, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Patrick Johnson, linebacker out of Tulane. I think, again, this was a very good value pick. You talk about, like we just said, linebackers are like the cookie cutter special teams players. Overall, played in 17 games, had a couple of starts, including 17 tackles, a 66.6 PFF grade. Again, C+. I could give this, I'll change that to a B with you guys as my witness. I will change that to a B because, again, I really like that. I really like these guys that you can get in the 7th round. So just can give you a little bit of a little something, and especially if when you get them in the 7th round, you're kind of like, okay, well, what's going to go on here? They're probably not going to be starters, but overall, I really like it. So between you and me, that grade is a B. I really like this pick. Again, you get those linebackers that are cookie cutter special teams players that can contribute and will find a way to get on the football field one way or another. And really like the pick overall here. So that's what we came up with for the Philadelphia Eagles draft class. Again, a couple of big starters in Devonta Smith and Landon Dickerson, who I think are going to be really big parts of this franchise moving forward. Also, Milton Williams, McPherson, and Gainwell, I think could be a really good running back, down the line. And, kind of like we said, moving forward, this is a lot of good draft picks for the Eagles. Again, once you get in that 4th, 5th round, 5th, 6th, 7th round, it's developing guys. Maybe that can be even more. You really never know. I mean, we've seen stranger things. You saw guys like, Stephon Diggs, who's a former 5th round pick. The GOAT. Tom Brady was the 6th round pick. Like, it doesn't matter. You get these guys on your roster and just see what they can do. And I got a lot of respect for this Eagles draft class. And they got 3 first-round draft picks this year. Man, they're going to change. I think they're going to turn things around really quickly. But, that's what we got for grading the Philadelphia Eagles 2021 NFL draft picks. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are truly awesome. We love every single one of you. In the description down below, you'll find all of our social media platforms, so give us a like and a follow there. Also, remember to give us a listen and sub on iTunes. And finally, if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put it in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think of our grading of the Philadelphia Eagles 2021 NFL draft picks.